Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us as always. Two subjects today, so very little, if any, in fact, no time to waste whatsoever. In the first instance, let's join everybody else and look at what this whole question of 2027 election and new opposition coalition. Is it gathering steam? What do you think about it? That's what we shall be looking at in the first instance. And our guest is Sonny Adenuga. Mr. Adenuga is the national chair of Boot Party. A fine morning to you, Mr. Adenuga.
Yori, nice to be with you again today.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much. Let me just jump into it quickly. 2027 new opposition coalition. First of all, do you believe in it? Because I asked that question against the backdrop of having heard from some, not all, perhaps, certainly not all, maybe not even many, but I have heard from some coalition, some opposition figures that they will not be part of it. They don't believe in it. They've made all sorts of statements as to that Nigeria will happen to that body. You understand what that means when we speak locally. So first of all, give me your thoughts, if you will, Sonny, on this opposition coalition. How far do you think it can get?
Yeah, I'm a very optimistic person by default, and I usually don't give up on people easily. It takes me a lot of time. And obviously, there are great opportunities out there for leadership to change in 2027 in Nigeria. Now, but it's not just going to happen by chance. I think that's where I differ, where people just think it's just going to happen. And I keep saying that, look, there's a saying in Yoruba, if you don't know how to dance, all you need to do to dance is to watch those who are dancing very well. It's not too hard or difficult to understand that how did the current leadership of APC got to power. It's a great model that could be used. However, of course, they went into a merger. And today we're talking about coalition. Of course, it would be too early to dismiss that the coalition in the long run could not metamorphose into a merger. It's the starting point. And I'm still going to give that benefit of the doubt. But obviously, I could understand the skeptics on this regarding what we have been seeing lately. And it's simply because in my own view, the people who are coming together today, they are a third force, not even a second force. They're a third force and a spent force. And that's why people may have their doubts and worries about, look, these guys are coming from different political parties. I'm hearing some echo and feedback from your people in the studio. Maybe they need to check, it's distracting me.
So sorry about that. You shouldn't be hearing anything from our studio. I think they are hearing themselves and will, okay.
Yeah, they need to, it's becoming louder from their end. They need to put it down, Maybe they should go away a bit.
I'll take a break. Let me just take a quick break so we can sort this out properly. So sorry that you're experiencing what you're experiencing. We'll be right back.
Lou Gossett Jr. and Cicely Tyson, who went on to earn a Tony Award nomination for her role in the play.
Or not. So sorry, Sonny. We've sorted it out now, so we're back. Yeah. We're back with you.
It's good you've sorted it so that it's for the quality of court to our also listeners.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
So as I was saying, I personally believe that it's too early to actually dismiss this coalition. It could metamorphose into a merger, which we've seen happen and worked in the past. A good example for the APC. But this discussion really is about what's really happening within the opposition. And I can tell you for a given that there have been a lot of lost, very steep right in in the political landscape in our country was the unconstitutional, in my own view, the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, and the opposition, the leader of opposition in the National Assembly could not tap into this. You know, like the last time.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Sonny. I beg your pardon. Let me just steal a question that our Akande used in when he interviewed Omoyele Sowore. He had said that, look, chairman of the party, presidential candidate. So what would you do if you were president in the circumstances that Rivers State found itself in?
Yeah, it's a very simple question, and I like that question. Democracy is by the rule of law. It's not what you think. It's a form of agreement and understanding. And I'm going to answer you by something that happened in the Boot Party towards 2023 general election. And I think probably the president should borrow a bit from that. We wrote to INEC in some states where we do not have state ESCO, but we had candidates who wanted to run for opposition. Now, we now appointed some individual to be responsible for the party activities. You know what INEC told us? They said, guys, this title you've given to these guys, this position, is not in the Boot Party constitution. And we retracted. See, politics and democracy, they tend to go line by line. But we're focusing here on democracy. The question anybody will ask in the future, and I've asked this question privately. I still do not understand the logic of that declaration, because as we speak today, if by the letters of democracy, that role, sole administrator, it is not found in the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And Mr. President will have to explain. But however, I don't want to dwell on that declaration. I want to talk about what the National Assembly did. Look, the requirement in our Constitution says 2/3. But the question is this, and I will put this question to you, Uncle Yori. Let's say the role is reversed. Let's say it was President, we have an imaginary President Atiku or President Obi, and they wanted to carry out that state of emergency, and we had a Jagaban as the leader of APC. Do you think it will pass? I can tell you it will not. Pounds for pounds, naira for naira, dollar for dollar, in that house, whatever it is they do, they will make sure they galvanize their member. And let's go further. It also shows the level of indiscipline in the political system that we have in our country. It means leaders of PDP, Labour Party, will not even galvanize their own people to challenge the government. You know, the last time I was here, I made mention about when President Tinubu, when he was campaigning, and he said, oh, when he was in Abeokuta, Amagbepowale, you know, saying he's going to bring down the price of the fuel. And from day one, he removed subsidy and price went up astronomically. Look, it's not the job of the opposition to give reason or excuse to what the ruling party is doing. Is to always look for opportunity and challenge the opposition and challenge the ruling party and drive the narrative against the government of the day. And let me tell you, it's not because you're not doing it because you just want to cause chaos or so, but this is what is going to even make the ruling party to also sit up and be mindful about their policy.
Okay.
You will see in my article, I personally think the declaration in Rivers State is a aesthetic, is a way of diverting discussion away from what is really happening, and it undermined the judiciary because the Supreme Court of Federal Republic of Nigeria has already given a ruling, and it was like, oh no, you have not done enough. I'm the president, I'm going to do better. So the opposition have failed drastically, especially the PDP. In this case, they could not challenge. When I don't think there's going to even be a better opportunity. What else is going to happen in Nigeria that is going to give the opposition opportunity and the tide to ride? What else can happen? If
all right, I hear you.
What else is going to happen?
I hear you, Sonny, and you know, you are in the opposition, and you know that we on this station, and indeed, I think even the president himself, I would put whatever I had on that. He also, you know, wants the opposition to thrive. He's a great Democrat. Now, you have pointed out that there are, you know, there's democracy, there's the rule of law, and I think democracy and politics, and you said you wanted to separate them. There was a clear and present danger. We often hear that the president is the chief security officer of the country. Now, he saw that there was danger. That there is our source, one of our main sources, and it was in danger because people were threatening. And so he can't let this continue, must have been his thinking. I don't speak for him. And so he took preemptive steps within the law as allowed by the Constitution. And now there have been arguments since then by people probably who know a lot more about it than myself.
It's not what he's supposed to do. The opposition, the question now is, it's not about questioning the president because he sees better. There are a lot of data that is going to be before him to make that decision. But it is not the job of the opposition to sit back, okay, and not do anything. Just the same way, it is not the job of the president to make sure the opposition is organized.
And it is not the job of the president to sit back and do nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, I agree. But what we're saying here is this: if the opposition have been doing what they're supposed to do, and that's the point, especially the opposition that have members in the National Assembly, they will have used the instrument of our law to challenge that declaration. And what could have happened is this: it doesn't necessarily mean the declaration might have not gone ahead, but there could have been a thing, you know, they may twinkle it, they may kind of adjust the plan. They may say, okay, maybe 1 month, or they may have a different ideas about, okay, this is the way we should go about it. But the opposition, in my view, the leaders, the minority leaders in the National Assembly gave a free ride to the president.
Okay.
To be able to achieve this. And that is what we should.
Meanwhile, the president was clear-sighted all the while that there is danger to this country, our country, and its resources. And if, in case he was thinking carelessly, as you know, within a couple of days, we had started to hear of explosions. Now, it might have been a coincidence. It might have been a long plan.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm not a statistician. I don't practice as a statistician. But I trained as a statistician, okay? Now, let me tell you, there is a concept in statistics about measuring bias and being careful. There's what they call regression to mean. So let me give you what that means. In the game of football, for example, it's uncommon for a hat-trick to be scored by players regularly. Now, the question is this: when a player now scores an hat-trick, if you are now making decision of buying that player because he scored an hat-trick, let me tell you, you see, there is a way God does his thing. Are you going to tell me the CNG tanker that exploded in Karu the second day after that declaration, was it also because of the president of Federal Republic Nigeria not doing the right thing? The point here is this.
As I said, it could be a coincidence. But the president was not taking any chances as a responsible leader of a government, as he said in his speech. But it's okay, Sonny. You know, you and I, we're not going to argue because we've taken your point of view. So I don't want us to lose sight of the subject matter. We went a bit towards this because I would have been surprised if we didn't get there. I read your article that you put out, so I knew that you want to put some of that out there. Yeah. But these people that are coming together now to call themselves a coalition of opposition parties, there is nothing new. There is no new person there. We know them.
I call them. They are a third force.
We know all of them. And they didn't do what they might have in mind now when they were in place. So a lady called in yesterday and said, you know what, there's just a lot of hatred going around for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that was what she called in and said of her own free will. So I don't know. I don't know what you think. You are a new generation opposition, if I may say so. You know, but You have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, you have Nasir El-Rufai, and all the names that we know. We know these people. And now they are coming together to try and stop Tinubu in his 2027 bid. It is their right. And it is also Tinubu's right to win the election coming up. And
yeah, let me tell you, Onkiori, like he said, it's their right. And it's the right of even Nigerians who are skeptical about this. It's also the task of the president to want to dismantle the opposition if they allowed it to be. The president is not going to make decisions that are going to favor the opposition. But let me correct one thing about, not correct, but to shed more light about the concept of opposition in Nigeria. I personally feel a bit different about the idea of opposition in Nigeria when you look at our political system. Rather, what we have, because we tend to confuse minorities, leaders in the National Assembly to really opposition. Where this concept of opposition were carved out, look at the British Parliament, for example. You see the way it is arranged. You find the ruling party on one side, then the opposition party on the other side. And the position of the speaker, who technically moderate discussion, kind of feel in the center. But look at our own National Assembly, the way they are organized. Everybody gathers together. And what that does is this. In theory, because our politics, our democracy, puts more emphasis on individual than political parties.
Well, if you think so, Sonny, yeah, that might be your opinion, because what works for the UK works for the UK. And what works for Nigeria will work for Nigeria.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't necessarily have to go the UK way.
Yeah, but we can't keep deceiving ourselves, because what we have and what we are trying to call opposition, people expect opposition to be at the party level. But where the democracy we practice is about individual getting to leadership position. So it becomes more challenging to be able to bring this individual together at the party level. And this is where it's a bit tricky. It's fundamental. Our democracy in Nigeria is geared more towards individual, the presidential system of government.
So you are hopeful. I beg your pardon, I'm so sorry. You know, we lost some time for interrupt. So you are hopeful that this new opposition coalition, that it won't just gather steam, but that it could actually affect anything. Because there are many people who are saying it's their right to carry on and exercise, you know, this right to be opposition. But is anybody seriously thinking that they can dislodge Tinubu the way things are configured right now? There are people who have made that comment.
Yeah, it's very hard, but it is not impossible. And that is politics itself, democracy itself is very, very hard, but it is about doing the right thing. And I've said to you, the true second force is going to eventually emerge. Take my word for that. These guys, they are a third force and a spent force, but they are fine. They can be in the tide, make the water go. But
has anybody approached you? Has anybody approached you to please join our coalition towards 2027?
I'm not going to divulge that. I'm not going to divulge that.
I hear you, because I'm just looking to make sense out of what is going on here. Instead of, because at the end of the day, it's not the president they are helping if they so help the country. They are helping the country because it is their country as much as anybody's. So this is the problem that one has. And it all started from the former governor of Kaduna State, well, this conversation from the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, moving to the SDP, but not just moving quietly, saying as he was going that the ruling party that he was a part of, that he probably was there from the very beginning. In fact, yes, he was there from the very beginning. He said it has departed from its ideological position and he couldn't stand that. Okay, that's his right. That's the way he sees it. But how many people does he think he can draw into his fold? Omoyele Sowore, for instance, as I said, Femi Akonde interviewed him, I think it was on Sunday, and he said, don't count me out of that kind of a thing. It's not going to work.
Yeah. For me, there is, it's out of respect and modesty for them, because naturally, there is a great capacity in every human being who make effort to achieve one thing or the other. And I'm not going to just dismiss them like that. But the point here is this, I have no doubt they are a spent force. And
Okay.
the true second
So
force.
I'm sure you're not going to, the Sonny I know is not going to be joining any spent forces.
Well, we're going to, I know you want to get words out of my mouth.
Okay, let me bring on Mr. George. Mr. George has called in. Good morning, Mr. George. Please go ahead. We lost Mr. George there. But, well, as you said, I want to get something out of... No, it's... I'm trying to make sense of this. I mean, it's one thing to do a thing for effect, and it's one thing to do a thing with a result in mind. If this opposition coalition, the way we are looking at it now, let me just stick my neck out and say, the way it is now, you can't dislodge Tinubu from power. Not the way it is.
Well,
not the way it is now.
Well, it's too early to call. You can, let me modify that. You may say this crop of people coming together may not have the capacity or ability to be able to dislodge Tinubu, especially an individual that was not in government and was able to get to become president. Is it now that is the president that you want to be able to take him out? And not only that, their approach and the way they've gone about things, the so-called coalition that are coming together, is just laughable, you know. So it's
now you're beginning to speak, Sonny.
No, there is no doubt about that. But the point here is this: I'm still going to give them benefit of the doubt.
I appreciate that.
Everybody always come from some level of assumption. For me, I always find it difficult to give up on people. I always believe that human beings are very resilient. So today, people may be talking about, how can the former Vice President Atiku give up his ambition, or how can El-Rufai? Well, you never know. They might have changed their perspective about issues. They might have become more different. Yeah.
All those people. You know,
yeah, so it's not impossible. You won't be in their minds. And in the next 1-2 years, before we get to being actively preparing for 2027 general election, you're going to see a lot of dynamics coming into our politics. And like I said to you, there's going to be a second true force. A third force and a spent force. So Nigerians should be ready for that.
I'll take your word.
Going to happen.
I'll take your word for it, because I was listening to Femi Akonde's interview with Sowore, and Sowore, you know, virtually said, you know, said the same thing, you know, in a different way. Ufot from Port Harcourt. Uzo from Port Harcourt. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Uzo in Port Harcourt. Okay. Again, we're having a problem with the lines, but I was just about to thank you.
Mr. Yori.
Okay, is that Uzo?
This coalition of 18 that they are doing is not going to. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue. Please continue. This opposition of a thing is not going to. That's where you stopped.
Uzo.
Yes. I can hear you, Uzo.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. This coalition of 18 this coalition of 18 cannot work, because birds of same feather. All these people are the one who has been causing confusion and whatever the beautiful day by.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Quick one from Musa Uzo, and we do appreciate that. So, Sonny, I don't know that you don't need to comment on that, because you've already said you've had your say on this whole matter. We need to, well, these people are exercising their right. The opposition of coalition, I don't know, they're exercising their right, and they're free to do so. But it remains to be seen how far they will get. There are those who are asking, what is it that His Excellency, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, what are the new cards he has to play? What are the new cards he has to show? Everybody, as I said, there are those who are opining that it's about hatred, but we've gone over that ground. I want to thank you very much, Sonny. Mr. Sonny Adenuga is National Chair of Boot Party. Boot because of our tomorrow. party. Thank you very much. Next time, I can promise you that there won't be any hiccups when you come on. Thank you very much.
No worries at all.
Okay, then. So we'll take a break now. And as I said, we do have another subject lined up. We'll be right back.